People nowadays go to Uman for Rosh Hashanah. There's 20,000 people there. But I went there years ago when it was right in the beginning, when there was about 4,500, 5,000 people there. I think there was 4,940,000 people there. I don't know exactly how much, but somewhere around that, because they still organized the place, and I drove there by car all the way from London. 2.5 days it took me. It was 1,750 miles each way. Anyway, we got there. I wasn't really impressed by their davening or by the 2,000 Baal Teshuvas or Shiva Bunim that were there. I'm not really impressed by these kinds of things, by the Baal Teshuvas and all these things, because I think it's more important to... I'm also a Baal Teshuva, really. It's more important for a Frum Jew to become a Baal Teshuva than it is for a Baal Teshuva who's been done. I don't think, I'm very angry at the Modia for making articles and showing before and after how somebody looked before. He was the biggest shaygis, he was Machal Shabbos, and suddenly became a Baal Teshuva and became all Frum. But it's not a big effort, I understand. But I'm also a Baal Teshuva. If I work on my midas to become a better person and become more religious and be more orthodox, then I've done a lot of effort in life. And the Lev Simcha said, it's a pity, it's a shud, die Freie gehabt the Baal Teshuva movement, and nicht die Frimme. The Frimme should also, the religious people should grab hold of the Baal Teshuva movement and should become more from it. And that's what it means. Baal Teshuvas oimdim ein tzadikim gemirim lecholam. It don't mean somebody who's proud that he was once friar and now he's become a former. I don't think that's the really aim or what they mean by Baal Teshuvas. But I can also become a Baal Teshuva. I'm also a Baal Teshuva. That means I'm going higher in my standard in my Yiddishkeit than I was before. Anyway, wasn't very impressed from the whole thing of Uman, but one thing I was very impressed, which caught my eye and I was terrifically impressed, and that was there was one man there suddenly got up on a table or something. He was dressed all in white. He had no beard, a white hat, a white jacket, and white trousers, a white short jacket and trousers, and he says, "Wir haben einen großen Gott." I have to repeat this in English. It's very hard to repeat in English. We've got a big God, he said. He didn't say it in English, he said it in Yiddish. So people stood around him. Suddenly a man gets up and shouts, "Wir haben einen großen Gott." And I asked him, "Favos, why?" So he said that he was one of those that was around this place in Uman. The Germans made burial grounds. They dug big holes and they shot the people into the holes. Into the hole, and that's where they were buried, around Uman and not Parad or Babi Yar. I don't know where Babi Yar is exactly, but there was lots of places besides Babi Yar, which is famous. There are lots of other places where they dug big holes and they shot the people of the village. Hundreds and thousands of people just shot them buried them, shot them and buried them. Anyway, he was standing by the line, and the gun went off, bang, and he dropped inside, and suddenly he realizes that. He says, I can move. He suddenly realized he can move. First he thought that every dead person can move a bit, but then he realized the others were dead, they weren't moving, and he was moving. The shot somehow missed him and didn't get him. And he called out from all the dead people, and he survived the war. And he says, as unsere Gott hat can beweisen von seiner Schmatte, as our God could show from being such Schmatte, to bring thousands of people here to Uman, to daven on Rosh Hashanah, then we've got a big God. Wir haben einen großen Gott. And he shouted them with such conviction and such... I can't explain it what it was. It just took me over, his whole dress and his großen Gott. And it took me so over that a man who really was shot, and I'd never really come close contact with somebody who had been through such a lot and been shot as a Jew and survived the war. And here he says, we've got a big God. You must understand, this is quite about nearly 20 years ago. So it took me really over, and I was so impressed and everything else. And I thought to myself, that's what really took me there. The rest of the Uman didn't take me so much, but hearing this man talk really took me to make me feel to have something out of the journey to Uman. But it was quite interesting, because when people go to Uman today, I always say, Rosh Hashanah Uman, I've been as well, and I wasn't really impressed. I'm really more impressed and have more out of Rosh Hashanah by sitting in a shul, contemplating and trying to understand the prayers and meditating and understanding and thinking into what I'm saying and talking talking to God, between me and God in a shul, on a bench, sitting, and not in a big crowd. By any of these Rebbes, I've got nothing. I used to go to Ger for Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. Now I just go for Sukkot because Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, I want to be in a synagogue and in a Beis Medrash, and I have much more out of it than I feel I've got much more out of it than going to any of these big places and it's a whole mishmash of people and you take the Yom completely thinking about what's Rosh Hashanah about, what's the new year coming to, and what's Yom Kippur about, contemplating and meditating into thinking about God.